As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Today, US President Donald Trump made one of his first actions in office decimating the rights of trans people, following a speech where he also called for
complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense.
And we knew this was coming. And yet the degree to which Trump has created this divide between his common sense revolution and LGBTQ2S+ people is stark and scary. One of Trump's first actions as president today was to sign an executive order focusing on defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. The new order will erase federal legal recognition of trans people and establish binary definitions of sex as male and female. It also states that government ID, including passports and personal records, must reflect biological reality, whatever that means, rather than self-assessed gender identity. Trans women will no longer be housed in women's prisons, and the order will cut federal funding for gender-affirming care for incarcerated trans people. Now, how these rules will actually be implemented will come into clarity in the coming days and weeks, and various aspects of the order will likely face court challenges from advocacy groups. But legal experts are already warning that as soon as immediately, trans people may not be able to change their ID markers and may be forced into gender markers reflecting their assigned sex at birth. And it's unclear what this could all mean for trans people who've already legally transitioned or changed their documents. And let's be clear, this move will cost trans lives. A 2015 study found a drastic reduction in suicide attempts for trans people, including non-binary people who had even one identity document that accurately reflected their gender. And there's overwhelming evidence that trans women in men's prisons face exponentially higher rates of sexual assault than the general incarcerated population. Now, this executive order came following an inauguration speech where, alongside promising sweeping immigration crackdowns and a dismantling of government DEI initiatives, Trump repeatedly invoked the idea of entering a golden age of free speech and liberation for America.
For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day.
Decimating the rights of trans people across America is not liberation. It's not common sense, and it's not free speech. It is the opposite of all of those things. There's a lot to worry about right now. And yet we must also worry about this new political movement from conservatism towards so-called common sense and liberation, and explicitly a common sense and liberation that excludes queer and trans people. Politicians have been talking about common sense for years. It's an easy political talking point. People like common sense. And here in Canada, we can already see it with federal conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. But this new flavor of common sense that casts LGBTQ2S+ people out is not actually common sense. It's discrimination. Trump's actions on this first day of his presidency show that, and they forecast a lot more attacks on LGBTQ2S+ people to come.